Well, howdy doody, geographers. Changing rainforests is the topic of today's lesson, using one of the spices concepts, the C for change. Rainforests don't stay the same, they change. And a lot of the change we're talking about is because of what humans have done to rainforests, and unfortunately, it's not all good. Here's some learning goals for you. You're going to know where Australia's rainforests are. You're going to know why rainforests are important, and they most certainly are. And finally, you're going to be able to interpret maps. The activity that we're going to do at the end is a map interpretation. All right then. So, Australia's got rainforests. They sure do. The Queensland's Daintree rainforest is the oldest tropical rainforest in the world. It's 10 million years older than the Amazon. There you go. And the First Nations Australians who live there are the Kuku-Yalanji people. Sweet. Australia used to be further north and covered in rainforests. So yeah, Australia used to be covered in rainforests. This is like millions of years ago. But how is it covered in rainforests? It doesn't have a lot of rain. Well, it used to, because think about Gondwanaland. Australia, the landmass, used to be further up. Used to be nearer the equator. And so it got a lot of rain, and so it had a lot of rainforests. Over millions and millions of years, the landmass of Australia has moved further south and become drier, and those rainforests have died out, and Australia's only got like 4% rainforest cover now, I think. Something like that. You only really find rainforests in the Great Dividing Range and in Tasmania, and I'll show you a map of what that looks like in one sec. So let's have a look at some photos of the Daintree, because it's a beautiful rainforest. Hello. Sweet. Lovely, lovely, lovely Daintree. That's one of those clever photos where the lens is opened for a long time and you get this like really cool classy effect with the water. Yeah, if you've got a fancy camera you can do that. And here are the Kuku-Yalanji people who live and manage the Daintree rainforest. Here we go. And some pretty awesome indigenous paint going on there. And let's have a look at a map of where Australia's forests are. So this tells us more than just where. See how beneficial that legend is? So the tropical rainforests, there we go. Boom, just along those coasts. So the Daintree is here, and some more tropical rainforests there. We have temperate rainforest in Tasmania. As I mentioned, there were rainforests in the Great Dividing Range, which is that there, and in Tasmania there. And we have other kinds of forest. It's called forest. I can't pronounce that. Anyway. And then you got open woodland, mallee, and arid. Arid is just a silly fancy word for dry. You won't be surprised to learn that Australia is dry in the centre. Okay. Amazon rainforest. It's the biggest in the world, but it's massively threatened, like to a shocking degree. By logging, people want it for its wood. Mining, people want to cut down the forest so that they can get the good minerals and gold and gems that are in the soil underneath it, and people want to cut it down so that they can use that land for farming. 50 soccer fields per minute are being lost. So imagine the size of a soccer field. That's roughly 1 per second. Imagine the size of a soccer field filled with forest, cut down in 1 second. Imagine that every single second, every day. Scary. So yeah, the Amazon is under extreme amount of threat of being destroyed. Which is a problem, not just because it kills animals and means that indigenous people who live in the forest got nowhere to live anymore, but rainforests control the climate and oxygen supply. If you remember your science lesson, plants breathe in carbon dioxide and breathe out oxygen. Animals breathe in oxygen and breathe out carbon dioxide. So plants and animals together form this really cool little symbiosis, this cycle where one breathes out the gas that the other one breathes in, that breathes it out. But if we cut down all the trees, who is going to breathe in all that carbon dioxide and produce all of that oxygen? That's a problem. Let's have a look at a map of the Amazon. There we go, and it's showing you, right? So this is a good map. Let's see what bolts it's got. It's got a border, yep. Orientation, no, but we know up is north. Legend, yep, down there's a couple of different legends. Title, yeah, that's kind of a title there. Scale, yes. Source, yes. Okay. Having a look at the legend, we can work out what it's telling us. So everything in pink is forest that's been lost in the last 17 years. Everything that's in red or orange or yellow is stuff that's being lost in 2019. So just look at how many different areas in the Amazon rainforest where forest is being lost. It's extremely depressing. Amazing rainforests. Just quickly, we find 7,000 different medicines from rainforest plants, but only 1% of all the plants in the rainforest have even been tested to see if they can be medicine. So there's still a whole heap of medicines out there. If we can get 7,000 medicines just from the 1% of plants that we've checked, imagine how many medicines there are in all those other plants. But we're too busy cutting them down. 50% of all life is found in rainforests around the world. Very biodiverse. Remember, biodiversity means the number of different animals and plant species. What kind of things do we get from the rainforest? Here's just a very tiny sample. Chocolate, chewing gum, bananas, vanilla, rubber. Here's a picture showing even more. Here's all the foods that we get from the rainforest. Now, wouldn't life suck without all of those things? Yes. Right. Here's your activity. Here's a map. It's obviously of the Amazon rainforest. What bolts are missing? Who might use that map? What could that map be used for? What is the most common type of forest? You're going to need to look at the legend to figure that one out. And finally, why are some parts of the map white? Why is this bit white? Why is this bit white? Well, why don't you try and figure that out? Let's watch a video. Minute Earth, really awesome YouTube channel. This is called Which Came First, the Rain or the Rainforest? Take it away.
A tropical rainforest without rain wouldn't be much of a rainforest. I mean, all plants need water to grow, and without it, they shrivel up and die. So what about the ancient Hawaiian proverb, Hahai no ka uha I ka ulula au, which means the rain follows after the forest? How could that be? Well, all land plants lose water when the pores on their leaves open up during photosynthesis, and this evaporation draws more water up through their stems. With so much rain soaking the soil in rainforests, water is nearly unlimited, and accordingly, rainforest trees can afford to move and lose more water than other plants. All that water vapor rising from the forest feeds moisture-laden clouds while also causing convection. Together, these effects accelerate the formation of rain, which falls to the soil and gets taken up all over again. This cycle of absorption, evaporation, and rain happens everywhere there are plants. However, super wet soil, fast-pumping trees, and hot tropical sun make the cycle so fast in the rainforest that, unlike other biomes where clouds might form in one place and rain in another, in a rainforest, all that water stays in the same region. Without the forest pumping so much water into the air, rainforests wouldn't be as rainy. And without so much rain, the forest couldn't pump so much water into the air. So which came first, the rain or the rainforest? Well, before rainforests, ancestors of trees like cypress, pine, and spruce dominated the land. But they were conservative when it came to using and losing water, so the air tended to be dry, meaning less rain. However, around 130 million years ago, a new kind of plant developed that took the risk of losing more water in return for souped-up photosynthesis. These were the flowering plants, and their risk paid off. Their faster growth enabled them to outcompete the ancestral pines and take over the tropical regions of the globe. These angiosperms lost so much water into the air that as they spread, they brought their own rain with them. And today, tropical rainforests receive more rain than if they were pine forests. In some places, as much as 1 meter more rain each year. That's equivalent to an extra 2.5 hours of heavy rain each week. Not surprisingly, all that water cools off the forest too, which is why the Amazon isn't nearly as hot as the Sahara or even an East Texas pine forest in summer. But the hot, dry tropics of the past may soon be a part of our future. In parts of the Amazon where vast swaths of rainforest have been logged or cleared for agriculture, unusual droughts are already occurring, and forest fires have become more frequent. Scientists worry that these changes will lead to ever hotter, drier, and more flammable tropics in the coming decades, making things tougher both for the remaining forest and for the people who live there. So when in drought, plant a tree. Seriously, hahai no ka'ua I ka'ulula au. This episode of Minute Earth is supported in part by Cookie Blast, one of our subscribers on Subbable, and also a puzzle game available for iPhone, iPad, and iPod Touch. Thanks for supporting Minute Earth, Cookie Blast.
You've made it to the end. It's the reflection activity. Write reflection activity in your book, and here we go. You're going to get funky, you're going to write some poetry, you're going to do a sense poem. So imagine rainforest. When you think rainforest, what do you see? What do you hear? What can you smell in that rainforest? What do you touch when you're in that rainforest? And what do you taste when you're in that rainforest? Maybe you taste some of those yummy rainforest foods. Who knows? Anyway, thank you so much for participating in this lesson, and don't ever stop keeping it real.